Hello. In today's video, we shall learn in detail about the frog Haplobatrachus tigrinus. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding about its morphology, sexual dimorphism, digestive system, respiratory system, circulatory system, excretory system, nervous system, and reproductive system. Let us begin with the general characteristics of frog. Haplobatrachus tigrinus belongs to the subphylum Vertebrata, superclass Tetrapoda, and is included in the class Amphibia as it lives both on land and in water. It is cosmopolitan in distribution and is generally found in or near water and in very damp places on land. The environmental conditions helps the frog to keep its skin moist and to carry on cutaneous respiration. When in danger, it can easily jump into the water and escape from its enemies. Frog possesses strong hind limbs for leaping and webbed feet for swimming in water. It is a carnivorous animal, feeding on insects, earthworms, etc. It has a large, muscular, protrusible, sticky tongue attached at the anterior end of the lower jaw and is free behind with a bifid or bilobed structure. During feeding, it quickly brings the tongue out of the mouth, catches the prey, and then retracts the tongue with the prey into the mouth. The tadpoles are herbivorous. The frog makes a croaking sound during breeding season and also as a mating call. As air moves back and forth between the lungs and the vocal sacs, the vocal cords cause the air to vibrate and produce the croaking sound. In males, the vocal sacs act as resonators. Frog is a cold-blooded vertebrate, otherwise known as poikilothermous animal. It cannot maintain a fixed body temperature. During unfavorable condition, the frog buries itself in the damp mud, becomes metabolically inactive, performs cutaneous respiration, stops feeding, and makes use of stored glycogen and fat present in their body. It minimizes all body activities to save energy to maintain life. During the winter season, it undergoes hibernation or winter sleep. During the summer season, it undergoes estivation or summer sleep. Frog has the unique ability to change its skin color to match with the surrounding in order to escape from its enemies. Frog has 3 layers of pigment cells, namely melanophores, cells with dark brown or black pigment melanin, guanophores or iridophores, cells with white pigments guanine, and lipophores, cells with red and yellow pigments. The pigments get dispersed or clustered in the skin in order to outfox its predators. With the onset of rainy season, the male frog with its croaking sound attracts the female for copulation or mating. The forelimbs and nuptial pads are well developed in males which are used for clasping the female during amphixis. The male frog grabs the female's back and fertilizes the eggs as the female releases them in water. Therefore, fertilization is external. By the way, if you're getting some value out of this video, please like and share this video so that all of us can learn, unlearn, and relearn together. Also, please consider subscribing the channel and press the bell icon to get instant notification of all the upcoming videos. Next, let us look into the morphology of frog. The body of frog is spindle-shaped or streamlined, bilaterally symmetrical, pointed anteriorly, rounded posteriorly, and is flattened dorso-ventrally. The body is divisible into head and trunk. Neck and tail are absent. The head is triangular in outline with a blunt anterior snout, wide mouth, a pair of nostrils, two large protruding eyes covered by a nictitating membrane, and a deeply pigmented circular patch of skin, tympanum or eardrum, that receives sound signals. The trunk shows a hump and a cloacal aperture or vent at its posterior end. The frog has two pairs of limbs. The short forelimbs show an upper arm brachium, forearm antebrachium, wrist carpus, and hand manus with 4 digits and are not webbed. The elongated, powerful hind limbs show the thigh, shank or crus, lengthened ankle tarsus, large foot or pes, 5 slender toes with webs of skin. Now, we shall try to understand sexual dimorphism in frog. The males of frog are smaller in size, darker in color, and are slimmer than the females. Male frog possesses vocal sacs which are well developed during the breeding season and a copulating pad on the first digit of the forelimbs which are absent in female frogs. Next is the coelom and viscera of frog. Frogs are coelomates. They possess a large body cavity or coelom and internal organs or viscera. The body cavity is filled with coelomic fluid. The coelom is lined by thin, transparent membrane of mesodermal origin. The body cavity is lined by parietal peritoneum and the inner organs are covered by visceral peritoneum. The digestive and respiratory organs have double layers of peritoneum known as mesenteries. The heart is enclosed with a membrane called pericardium. Exoskeleton is absent, but endoskeleton is well developed, consisting of bones and cartilages. Now, let us learn about the digestive system of frog. It consists of alimentary canal along with the associated glands. Alimentary canal is a long coiled tube consisting of the mouth, buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine or rectum, and cloaca. The associated glands are gastric glands, intestinal glands, liver, and pancreas. Food is captured by the bilobed tongue and is swallowed as a whole. From the mouth, it enters the buccal cavity, passes through pharynx into the esophagus. The muscular wall of the esophagus pushes the food down into the stomach by peristaltic movement. Gastric digestion. Digestion of food takes place by the action of hydrochloric acid and gastric juice secreted from the walls of the stomach. Enzyme pepsin brings about breakdown of proteins into peptones and proteases. The liquefied semi-digested acidic food is called chyme. Chyme reaches the first part of small intestine, the duodenum. The duodenum receives bile from gallbladder and pancreatic juice from the pancreas through a common bile duct. Emulsification of fat takes place in the presence of bile. Pancreatic juice, which has several enzymes, digest carbohydrates and proteins. Intestinal digestion. Complete digestion takes place in the small intestine, which has intestinal juice or succus entericus. This juice contains number of enzymes which act on all classes of food. Carbohydrates are converted into glucose, proteins into amino acids, and fats into fatty acids and glycerol. The inner wall of the small intestine has numerous finger-like projections called villi and microvilli, which increases the surface area for absorption of food. The absorbed food is assimilated in the cells and tissues. It helps in the liberation of energy during respiration. Excess glucose is stored as glycogen in the liver or is converted into fats in the adipose tissue. The undigested food passes into the large intestine or the rectum and is removed through cloaca. Next, we shall study about the respiratory system of frog. In case of tadpoles, branchial respiration takes place by means of external gills. In adult frog, respiration occurs through three different ways, namely cutaneous respiration through moist surface of outer skin, buccal respiration through lining of buccopharyngeal cavity, and pulmonary respiration through lungs. In all the above types of respiration, numerous blood capillaries which lie close to the epithelium brings about exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide gas by diffusion. Cutaneous respiration in frog. When the frog is under water or during hibernation and estivation, gaseous exchange takes place through their moist skin, which is richly supplied with blood capillaries. The dissolved oxygen in the water is exchanged with carbon dioxide by simple diffusion. The mucous glands also secrete mucus so that the skin does not dry when the frog is out of water. Buccal respiration in frog. Buccal respiration occurs by lowering and raising the floor of the buccal cavity. Air is drawn into the buccal cavity and is expelled out through the open nostrils. The mucous epithelial lining of buccal cavity is rich in blood capillaries through which oxygen is absorbed from the air and carbon dioxide is released. Pulmonary respiration in frog. The main organs for respiration on land are the two lungs. The respiratory tract consists of external nostrils, internal nostrils, nasal chambers, buccopharyngeal cavity, glottis, laryngotracheal chamber, and two bronchi. The movement of the floor of the buccal cavity, which acts as a force pump, is responsible for the entry and exit of air from the lungs. The rhythmic lowering and raising of the floor of the buccal cavity is by the action of sternohyal muscles and petrohyal muscles. The whole respiratory mechanism involves two phases, inspiration and expiration. Inspiration, the frog closes the glottis and mouth, nostrils remain open, and air is drawn into the lungs. The sternohyal muscles contract, hyoid apparatus and the floor of the buccal cavity are lowered, volume of cavity increases, and air enters the buccal cavity through the nostrils. Glottis opens and the movement of the jaw bones closes the nostrils. The petrohyal muscles contract, hyoid apparatus and the floor of the buccal cavity are raised, volume of cavity decreases, and the air enters the lungs. The above process by which the lungs are filled with air is known as inspiration. Expiration. The glottis closes when lungs are filled with air. Buccal respiration occurs for some time. The glottis opens, buccal cavity floor is lowered, and the air moves from the lungs into the buccal cavity. Now the glottis closes, buccal cavity floor is raised, and the air is expelled out through the nostrils. The above process by which the lungs are emptied is known as expiration. Next, we shall study about the circulatory system in frog. The blood vascular system or circulatory system of frog is closed type as the blood flows in the blood vessels. It includes the heart, blood vessels, blood, and lymphatic system. The lymph system consists of lymph, lymph vessels, and lymph nodes. The heart is covered by a protective membrane called pericardium. It has three chambers, upper two atria and lower ventricle. Heart of frog is myogenic as the heartbeat originates from muscles. Wave of contraction originates from the sinus venosus, which joins the right atrium. The non-oxygenated blood is forced into the right auricle through sino-auricular aperture. Oxygenated blood from lungs reaches the left auricle through the pulmonary vein. Simultaneous contraction of both the auricles pushes the blood into the ventricle through auriculoventricular aperture. The mixed blood of the ventricle enters the truncus arteriosus, which branches into three arches: carotid, systemic, and pulmocutaneous artery. The blood finally reaches all parts of the body. Blood is a liquid connective tissue and is the chief circulatory fluid of the body. It carries nutrients, gases, and water to the respective sites during circulation. It contains clear liquid plasma in which blood corpuscles, RBC, WBC, and platelets are embedded. Lymph is another liquid connective tissue. When blood is filtered from capillaries into intercellular spaces, it forms tissue fluid or lymph. It bathes the tissues and lubricates many internal organs. It is similar to blood but lacks blood proteins and RBCs. Lymph capillaries unite to form lymph vessels which open into the venous system. Now, let us have a small glimpse of arterial and venous system of frog along with the lymphatic system. Arterial system of frog. Arteries carry blood away from the heart. It starts with the truncus arteriosus, which gives out three aortic arches, namely common carotid arch to the head, systemic arch to the body and viscera, and pulmocutaneous arch to lung and skin. Common carotid arch divides into two branches, external carotid, which carries blood to the tongue and adjacent parts, and internal carotid. Internal carotid divides into three branches, a palatine to the roof of the mouth, a cerebral to the brain, and ophthalmic to the eye. Each systemic arch gives off three branches, esophageal to the esophagus, occipitovertebral to head, vertebral column and spinal cord, and subclavian to the shoulder region. The two systemic arches join to form the dorsal aorta. It gives out several branches like ciliaco-mesenteric to stomach, pancreas, liver, spleen, intestine, gonadial to gonads, renal to kidneys, posterior mesenteric to rectum, common iliacs to rectum, urinary bladder, hip region, lower legs, etc. Pulmocutaneous arch divides into two main arteries, pulmonary artery to the lung and cutaneous artery to the skin. Next, the venous system of frog. Veins carry blood from the body to the heart. Venous system can be divided into pulmonary veins, caval veins, renal portal veins, and hepatic portal veins. Pulmonary veins collect oxygenated blood from the two lungs and pour it into the left auricle. Caval veins. Deoxygenated blood from the body moves to the heart by two anterior vena cavae and a single posterior vena cava, all of them open into sinus venosus. Renal portal veins. The veins which carry blood to a capillary system in kidneys forms the renal portal vein. Hepatic portal veins formed by the union of several branches from stomach, intestine, spleen, and pancreas. They carry blood containing digested food to the liver, where it breaks up into capillaries. The lymphatic system of frog. It consists of lymph vessels, lymph hearts, lymph spaces, and spleen. Lymph, as mentioned earlier, are filtrate of blood lacking erythrocytes and some blood plasma. It helps to carry food and oxygen to the cells and the waste materials to the blood. Lymph vessels are thin-walled vessels forming a network. Lymph capillaries unite to form large vessels which open into the venous system. Lymph vessels open into contractile sacs called the lymph heart, which helps the lymph to be sent to veins. The frog has two pairs of lymph hearts. Some lymph vessels form lymph channels or sinuses. Spleen contains lymphatic tissues and plays a major role in destroying worn-out RBCs. It is also responsible for the formation of antibodies, new RBCs, and lymphocytes. Next is the excretory system of frog. In frog, excretion is carried out with the help of a pair of kidneys, a pair of ureters, urinary bladder, and cloaca. Kidneys are bean-shaped structures situated on either side of the vertebral column in the body cavity. The kidneys are mesonephric, covered ventrally by peritoneum. The kidneys contain several structural and functional units called nephrons. They separate nitrogenous waste from the blood and excrete urea and are therefore known as ureotelic animals. A pair of ureters emerge from the posterior side of kidneys and open into the cloaca. In male frogs, since the ureters carry the sperms and urine, the ureters are known as urinogenital ducts. In female frogs, the ureters and the oviduct open separately into the cloaca. A thin-walled, unpaired, bilobed, distensible urinary bladder is present ventral to the rectum and opens into the cloaca. The small cloaca opens by a cloacal aperture. The cloaca communicates with the exterior by the vent or the cloacal aperture. Next, we shall learn about the nervous system of frog. The nervous system includes a central nervous system comprising of the brain and the spinal cord. The cranium protects the brain, while the vertebral column protects the spinal cord. A peripheral nervous system consisting of cranial nerves and spinal nerves arising from the brain and spinal cord respectively. The autonomous nervous system made up of sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves. The brain is situated in the cranial cavity of the skull. It is enclosed in a bony structure called the cranium. The outer membrane pia mater is thin, pigmented, and contains vascular connective tissue. Next to the pia mater is the dura mater, which is tough and fibrous membrane. Both pia mater and dura mater together are known as meninges. The space between the two membranes, known as subdural, is filled with cerebrospinal fluid, which acts as a shock absorber. The brain is divided into forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. The forebrain, which is the largest part of the brain, includes the olfactory lobes that contain several types of nerve cells that are involved in the sense of smell. The paired cerebral hemispheres or cerebrum, which controls the activities of the olfactory, tactile, and optic organs. It is associated with memory, pain, and voluntary muscle control. It also coordinates the activities of the neuromuscular mechanism of the body. The unpaired diencephalon, which controls the metabolism of fats and carbohydrates. The midbrain consists of a pair of optic lobes, which are the centers for impulses coming from the eye. The hindbrain consists of the cerebellum and medulla oblongata. The cerebellum brings about coordination in the movement of muscles and also maintains balance and body posture. Medulla oblongata has nerve centers of all reflex functions. It regulates automatic functions such as digestion, respiration, heartbeat, etc. The medulla oblongata extends as the spinal cord into the vertebral column. The peripheral nervous system consists of 10 pairs of cranial nerves and also 10 pairs of spinal nerves. The cranial nerves may be purely motor nerves, sensory nerves, or mixed nerves. The sensory nerves carry impulses from the receptors to the central nervous system. The motor nerves carry impulses from the central nervous system to the effector organs. The autonomic nervous system comprises of two sets of nerves, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nerves. The autonomic nervous system regulates certain involuntary processes of the body like blood pressure, heart rate, etc. Reproductive system of frog. Frogs exhibit sexual dimorphism. The male reproductive organs consists of a pair of testes, vasa efferentia, that arise from testes open into the Bidder's canal in the kidney. It communicates with the urinogenital duct and finally opens into the cloaca. The female reproductive organs include a pair of ovaries and a pair of oviducts arising from the ovaries, which finally opens into the cloaca. Female frogs lay eggs in water. Fertilization is external. The fertilized egg develops into a larval stage called tadpole. The tadpole undergoes metamorphosis to form the adult frog. So today we have learnt in detail about the different systems present in frogs. I have some practice questions for you. Please share your answers in the comments section below. You can pause the video and write down the questions if you like. Thank you so much for your time and participation. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please consider subscribing the channel and press the bell icon to get instant notifications of all the upcoming videos. Also, if you want to discuss any particular topic in biology, Please mention that in the comments section below. I'll see you there. Goodbye. All the best.